Welcome to Surfside Stories. Today I am so proud to have one of my best friends sitting right here in the studio with me. Mr. Bo Gilbert, Bo the Webguy, as a lot of us know him. And Bo has been involved in beach music for quite a while. But he's in the background a lot of times and we don't even know he's there. He's doing music events, doing music charts, working with DJs. And I just want to ask you, Bo, let's start. How did you get into beach music? And tell us about some of the many events that you're involved with now. You take it and run with it, brother.
All right, I appreciate it, Wayne. Thanks for having me today. Doing a Surfside Story, kind of exciting. Been a lot of artists been sitting in a seat before I did, so it's kind of cool to kind of maybe come share some stuff with you. I graduated from NC State. I was in college in the 89 to 94. Graduated in 1994, and I was involved in the student chapter of the National Association of Home Builders. And I think back then, my timeline is not off. I went to one of the events and the Band of Oz was playing at that home builders. And at the time, I had no idea what beach music was. I think I'd heard of the Band of Oz and may have seen them at something, but I'd never been to a beach music festival. I'd never been to see any of the bands. I had no idea what beach music was at the time. And so I
give you about when was it?
I was in the student chapter at NC State in the early 90s.
Okay.
But I went to go work several places, and then I went back to work for the Home Builders Association back in 2003, 2004. So I'd already been exposed to beach music at that point.
Okay.
But probably Band of Oz, like probably 93, 94 was probably the first time I'd ever seen or even heard of beach music, and I still don't know that I knew it was beach music then.
Yeah.
Started going to some events, and before you knew it, I ended up going to the Triangle Beach Music Festival there in Garner, and then we later came down here to Myrtle Beach New Year's Eve, and we went and saw Chairman of the Board at the House of Blues, and I was kind of hooked on the beach music scene and that kind of thing at that time. It wasn't too long before I discovered Jim Quick. I think at the time it was the Coastline Band.
Yeah.
And started following Coastline Band. And once I saw him the first time, I don't think when he came to Raleigh or Cary, I tried to be almost at every event. I became a Coastline crazy before we even started calling them Coastline crazies.
Okay.
I was a big fan. So Jim, started following Jim, and one day I went to the internet and his website was down, and I said, Jim, what happened to your website? And he said, man, we're getting ready to make some changes. I said, well, he said, so we took the website down. I said, well, you need a website. I said, it's kind of important. He said, yeah, I mean, I think a website's important. He said, you know how to do websites? I said, yeah, I know how to do websites. He said, all right, we'll do mine. And so he turned over a Coastline Band, and at the time he had a booking agency called Quick House Music. And I went down to Wrightsville Beach and met with him for a little bit, and we talked some numbers, and he said, now, once you start doing stuff for me, everybody's gonna want you to do their stuff. He said, yes, you make all the money on them because I ain't got none. No, we started working on Coastline Band. We started the newsletter. We had a newsletter that came out every week from the Funky Phantom, Fred. It was a friend of his who would help write some of that stuff, and we put it together, and we were going out, telling everything that was going on with Coastline Band. And so, I think, most of my early years would all be, based on what Jim Quick, brought me to the table here, and became, following Coastline. He said, thank goodness it wasn't too long. I was at another event, and Jim introduced me to Keith Houston. And of course, later, obviously, Band of Oz. I knew who the Band of Oz was. I've been to the Triangle Beach Music Festival at this point, and Keith said, hey, I need some help with my website. And so I started working with Band of Oz, and so I was working with Band of Oz and Coastline, and then got involved in several big events. I knew how to do internet marketing. I was selling real estate and advertising for real estate on the internet, and learned how to do websites myself. So I taught myself how to do programming websites, and I got involved in email marketing and newsletters. But once I met Jim and got involved with them, and then got involved with the Band of Oz, I had a good time doing internet promotions. Before you knew it, I was working with the Triangle Beach Music Festival, and then I was doing an event at the Long Branch wall-to-wall ball with Capital City wall-to-wall ball, and Got involved with Mr. Ray Hall, who passed away a few years ago. But we had Ray's deck party at the Long Branch. Every Thursday night.
Yeah.
We had beach music bands.
I've heard of those.
We were promoting those, and then eventually he opened up. Kind of go back and forth. But TJ's Nightlife later came out of that. I did stuff with Red's Beach Music while I was in Raleigh, and had a good time with just doing events and marketing, internet marketing. Tried to do websites, keep them going. I spammed a lot of people over the years. I mean, I don't know how many probably millions of emails I have sent, trying to sell tickets or push an event or that kind of thing. But love being involved with the beach music industry. Eventually, that brought me to the Carolina Beach Music Awards, where I'm currently on the board for the CBMA board. And I helped
this time you were talking about a while ago now, that's when you were still in Raleigh then, working with Triangle and...
Yeah, I was living in Raleigh, working with the Triangle Beach Music Festival, working with Coastline, working with Band of Oz, and...
Coastline, at that time, were they still in Laurinburg, or were they in the beach by then?
They were primarily out of Wrightsville Beach and Wilmington. They might have still called themselves the Laurinburg Group, but this was before... I started working with them before they made the name change. They were still the Coastline Band.
Okay.
And so I was there through through the early years when Jim basically fired the entire band the first time. They came out new as just Coastline. They had signed with Landslide Records out of Atlanta, and they came out as Coastline. And so a lot of changes got made at that point, a lot of new faces. And I was there as he was doing some of the interviews, and some of the first time that some of these guys that would play with him for 10 years, I saw them on some of their first shows. I was hanging out with Jim quite a bit in the early 2000s before I moved to Atlanta. Once I moved to Atlanta, I was involved with something else. I was still doing the real estate marketing and advertising, and they offered me a position that I couldn't pass up. So I went down to Atlanta and continued to work with real estate, but I kept all my stuff going on the best I could, going in Raleigh, and I continued to work with the Triangle Beach Music Festival.
Okay.
I remember, just real quick, when the Triangle Beach Music Festival was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I went to them and said, hey, I can help you out with your website. What do you think about selling tickets online? And they're like, what? We've never done that before. I don't know if it'll be successful or not. So I went in there and just did a form and took money and got their address. And then I got a stack of tickets, and I stuck the tickets in the envelope and mailed them out. And I did that for years. The first year, we didn't sell hardly any tickets at all, but we saw that it was a possibility. And the next year, we started doing these promos, and where they would getting tickets almost half price. And we would sell tickets we did a 24-hour sale.
Okay.
And we sold a ton of tickets, and that spearheaded things. And then they started seeing the power of the internet, and things got getting bigger and bigger. And so we kept involved with the Triangle Beach Music Festival and sold a lot of tickets through the years while they're still in Garner. And so it's from there, I got involved in other festivals. Glenwood Beach Music Festival, I was involved with that for years. And then of course I went to Atlanta, and I wasn't involved as much in the festival. I continued to work with the Triangle Beach Music Festival, but I did do a whole lot of other stuff in the Raleigh area until actually things kind of leveled off a little bit. I continued to work with Band of Oz, continued to work with Coastline. I worked with a few other bands along the way. Still heavily involved with Coastline. Of course, Jim Quick being one of my best friends. Every time he'd come up with an idea, I'd go buy a domain. I don't know how much money I've spent on domains, but we'd have all kinds of ideas. With Jim doing Coastline, doing Quick House, doing he would do some of his own events and beach music cruises, and I've been involved in a lot of event marketing, event promotions, which kind of brought me, I guess, to where I am today. When I moved in 2010, I moved to the North Myrtle Beach area from Atlanta.
Okay.
I had some things kind of go different in Atlanta, and had an opportunity to move here. And of course, once I got here, I wanted to get involved as much as I could. I really quickly got involved with Fat Harold's, in Hodo's. At the time, it was in Cherry Grove before it moved to Ocean Drive.
Yeah.
And so I was doing marketing and promoting both of those clubs, and then eventually I got involved. That was before I got heavily involved with the CBMA. And so now, just quickly, fast forward. I mean, I'm now on the CBMA board. I help with their nominations, help with their voting. And of course, I'm on the board. And
you do most of their web work then?
I do. I don't do their website. But, they've got a couple people that have been involved in the website for years. But as far as the voting and the nominations, I created a little website kind of keep up with the weekend events called cbmaweekend.com. And so
I've seen it.
You can go there.
I didn't realize that was yours.
Yeah, I put that together for it was just a different type of we did it about 3 or 4 years ago, and we were sending out notices and emails and stuff would come out from CBMA Weekend, and so I continue to keep that site up. And
it's quick and easy to get on and find what you need to do for the weekend.
It really does, and with that being tied into Google, and it kind of helps with all the different search widgets and that kind of stuff too. It's just technology is changing so much, and websites were big, and they still are big, but the social media aspect has changed everything. I mean, Facebook came along. I remember when we were first on MySpace, and remember when we put Band of Oz and Coastline on MySpace, and thought that was kind of interesting, and then Facebook came along, and I said, well, I guess we need to get on Facebook, and that's before Keith had a Facebook account, before Jim had a Facebook account. I mean, they weren't on there. I put Coastline on Facebook before Jim himself got on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then so we were reaching out, and things were really different back then. But we continue to keep pushing. Facebook's huge, and now you've got YouTube and Twitter, and which is now X, and of course TikTok. We've come along with here in the last few months. We've kind of started pushing the TikTok thing because it's fun to be involved in all the new technology. You just never know when you're going to hit the right person, and you connect with somebody and they buy some tickets or they share something that, and it goes viral. And next thing you know, 100,000 people have seen something that you never thought you could reach, all those type of people. But I'm
going to say here, about 8 weeks ago, Bo got me on TikTok for the first time, and it has been quite an experience. It really has. Tell me about what do you like best about TikTok? I know I like your live things. I like your daily things where you're telling what's going on in your exploring North Myrtle Beach, which we'll talk about in a minute. What's your favorite thing about TikTok?
I guess the interaction. I mean, for me, going live on TikTok. I used to never go in front of the camera. I always was behind the camera. You talk about being behind the scenes, involved with a lot of ticketing. I've always been Bo the Webguy. I might show my picture, but I haven't done a whole lot of camera work. And I've been posting stuff about North Myrtle Beach, for years, because 2010 I moved here, of course, and in 2011, 2012, I met a very special person. I met Angela, and she had the vacation rental business and the real estate business, and it kind of it worked out. I was involved in websites, and got involved with helping her with her website, and that kind of gave me an idea that, hey, North Myrtle Beach, and we continue to promote North Myrtle Beach because beach music is at its center here in North Myrtle Beach.
Yes, it is.
And so it kind of went hand in hand to promote North Myrtle Beach in addition to beach music. And then at that point, Grand Stern Vacations and Grand Stern Realty was more than just beach music. I mean, it's all about bringing people to North Myrtle Beach. And so I got involved with doing the daily post on Exploring and Be. That had been doing that. Well, I created a website and put up a bunch of stuff, and then it kind of sat dormant for a while. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I started posting every single day about what's going on. I had a friend of mine on Facebook, Ray Collins. He had a Facebook group. He pulled a calendar list together, and
Friends of North Myrtle Beach.
Friends of NMB, Friends of North Myrtle Beach. And so he was posting a daily list there, and then I taught him about sharing that list and using that list to help out reach people outside of Facebook, which is what I had with my website and my newsletter and everything else. And so I took some of the stuff that he was doing, and I added a little bit of more stuff to it with my North Myrtle Beach and surf stuff and beach music events, and kind of throw that together. And email goes out every day to thousands of people, and we've got people reaching it on Facebook and that kind of thing. But over 4 years of posting, always looking at ways to expand the reach and get the word out and make things easier. I mean, you can always advertise, which is definitely a way to do that. But it's, if you can get the social media working in addition to the advertising, it all works together. And of course, when TikTok came along, I've been watching TikTok for a lot longer than just being on. I've been on there, been posting since August, but I was watching it for months before that. Thought it was going to go away, and then of course you had everybody worried about privacy and all the other issues going on. But I saw people being very successful with TikTok, and don't know if I could make a whole lot of money with TikTok, but if I sell a few more tickets, it's worth the time that I put into it. Getting the reach, getting the exposure, reaching people that aren't being on Facebook or aren't being on other markets. Is just that's kind of where with TikTok it's just a different group of people are looking at it, but some of the same people are there that are on Facebook, that are following me on my website or in my email list, and so it's just kind of a you talk about sometimes things need to be shown to you 7 times or 7 times. So if I hit it on TikTok 2 or 3 times and Facebook 2 or 3 times and send you an email, and hopefully I can get it through that, hey, this is an event that you need to come to.
Well, this beach music festival that you're involved in within the spring, that has become a giant, big event. How did you get into that? And you sell a lot of tickets online for that, right?
We do sell a lot of tickets online. Well, most of the tickets we sell are online for that event. Back in 2000, let's see, 17. I guess it was 2017 was our first one. We had done beach music events and had been involved. We put some stuff out there at the city, and it kind of came to us as, well, how come we're not doing a beach music festival in Ocean Drive? I mean, that's the center of the universe for beach music, and so we got together with the surf, and we decided to let's do a beach music festival right there in Ocean Drive, and we picked the first weekend of May because at the time we thought there wasn't a whole lot of other stuff going on. We tried to get there in front of Mother's Day, try to get there, not interfere with the Blue Crab Festival, but also try to, for the most part, try to get it after SOS. Now, we've interfered a little bit with that, but we decided to pick the first Saturday in May, and we went out there with beach music bands in 17 and had a great day. 2018 was pretty cool, and then 2019 is when we first ran up against SOS, and so our Saturday interfered with SOS, and we're like, what are we going to do? Will people go to a beach music festival if they're already got bands and everything else going on? So we got together and said, you know what, let's just put Gilbert McClinton on the stage. And because they said, with SOS coming to town, they'll pay to see Gilbert McClinton.
Yeah.
And we, in addition to Gilbert McClinton, we also got Jimmy Hall. And so Jimmy Hall came and played.
Two big names.
Came and played with Coastline. Coastline backed up Jimmy Hall, and of course Gilbert had his band, and it was phenomenal. And we had it. I mean, to be able to, of course, the kind of money you have to pay a Gilbert McClinton, and he didn't tour. And I think he retired the next year. He won another Grammy and stopped touring. But but that kind of risk, I'm happy to say I was able to put a Gilbert McClinton show on and not lose. We didn't lose money, so that was exciting.
Well, that's not the least expensive show.
No,
the more expensive ones to put on.
Well,
last year
I would find out the future was we spent even more money. But 2020 was going to be a banner year. We were so excited. We had Jimmy Hall and his entire band coming. I'd already sold tent spaces and everything else, and then of course that stupid COVID came. We had to cancel the Ocean Drive Beach Music Festival. I had to return all that money, which was not fun.
I bet not.
At the same time, we were also going back to Key West with Jim Quick and Coastline. So I had 2 trips going. We were going back to Key West in October, or I think October. So we had big all that planned, and so we had to cancel that and return all those deposits. And
wow,
2020 was not a good year for outdoor events, obviously, but we recovered. And in 2021, we came out. I think we were the first first live event in Ocean Drive, out of COVID. Everything was kind of clearing, and so we had too much Sylvia, Band of Oz, and Coastline, and we were busting at the seams that day. We went across the street. Before we were over there behind the Odie Pavilion.
I remember those.
And then we went across the street to the parking lot between the Odie Arcade and Ducks and set up there, set the stage up at the end. And
that's a big lot.
It was but we were slammed.
Yeah.
And it was that was a big weekend. We had a good time. Glad to be able to bring all that back to to Ocean Drive. And of course from there we've gone in and added bigger shows. We've gotten the Spinners in there, and then last year we did the California Honey Drops, which both the Spinners and the Honey Drops. I mean, when we realized how much money we were putting out there to do a show like that, but it's nice to be able to bring a new experience to North Myrtle Beach and Ocean Drive, and glad we were able to do that and make everybody happy. The weather cooperated. It has, I don't know if this is a wooden table, but the weather has cooperated with us every year. We had a little bit of rain last year for the honey drops, but it didn't last more than 10, 15 minutes. And it was right there as the honey drops were getting ready to go on stage, and they stayed right on stage and sat it out for a minute, and we were able to rock it. So it was a good time.
Have you got any secret announcements about what's coming up next?
I wish I could announce it. I wish I could announce the lineup. We've gone back and forth and lots of negotiations, and hopefully soon we're going to be, we're going to put something out there. But I do not have the lineup yet for 2026, but it will be the first Saturday in May for sure.
Okay, so the date's taken care of. We just working on the group.
That's right, working on the groups. I wish I could announce that, and who knows? By the time you see this, depending on what time you see it, maybe we'll have something lined up.
Well, now you're working a lot with the Surf radio station. Is that correct?
Yeah. In addition to we partnered. I partnered with them back in 2017 to do the festival. I'd already been doing a few things with them along the way, doing some promotions and that kind of thing, and then I got heavily involved with some of their radio shows, and of course, I'm trying to remember what year we started the Surf Countdown, but we Ted Bell had a top 20 countdown for years that he had done. And then they kind of stopped that for a little while after Ted left, and we decided to bring a countdown back, and and so we started doing the Surf Countdown.
That was Mike Worley.
Yeah, Mike Worley brought it back, and we wanted to do something a little bit different than what everybody else had been doing. So we decided to use our technology and let people start voting, and instead of voting your number one, your number two, your number three, we decided just to put it out there on a rating system. Do you like this song? If you so, give it a 10. If you don't like it, give it a 1.
Yeah.
Or if you don't have any opinion whatsoever, don't vote on it at all. But we send out the emails, and we've got thousands and thousands of people that vote on that every week. And so it's kind of cool.
I wondered how large.
Oh yeah, it's got to be big. Yeah, we've got. Not everybody votes every week, but we've got close to 20,000 people that get emailed every week about Surf Countdown. So it's wild to see it in, but I worked the program, so it's not a tremendous amount of time. But we do. It is a little bit different. People kind of think, I can just give this song I just vote for one song and it'll be number one, or just get a bunch of people. And there's a lot of people voting, and the algorithm does treat things a little bit different. Some insider secrets. You just got to vote one song, and it says it right there. Don't just vote for one or two artists or one or two songs. Let us know what you think on all these songs. Give us opinion on more than just one or two songs, because it's just if you think that one song is worth a 10 and everything else is a 0, I really don't value your opinion.
Yeah, that's true. Well, doesn't that encourage people to go listen to more songs?
Absolutely. And some people say, well, I haven't heard this song or have that song. A lot of the songs are on YouTube, and so you can go search them on YouTube and find those songs. But if you listen to the Surf, you're going to hear them. And a lot of the bubble songs, Jay plays these brand new songs that are just coming out. He tries to spotlight and show those out there. It's and then of course you can reach out. From 12 to 1 every day. Jim has all requests. Cafe or y'all request line, sponsored by Blue Drum, of course. But you can go there and request a song if you haven't heard it and you want to hear it, or just go look.
You can do that online also. Do a request, can't you?
Yep. You can go online through the app. You can request songs, and they see those requests coming in, via email and through their text message. That's another big thing we did. We started in the last couple of years. We started the text club.
Okay. Yes.
And that's been strong as far as getting the word out about events. You have to be on that event to get your best savings. Sometimes we've sold out events just from the Surf Text Club.
One of the things I did was join the tour.
Well, you can save a lot of money. That's we reward loyalty. So watching the loyalty and watching it out there. But just if you're a member of the Surf Text Club, you're going to get first notice on new events and have an opportunity to probably save more money than most people.
But now you work with the Christmas program too, don't you?
We've got the Legends of the Beach Music Christmas show is another big show that we've been doing for years. We started out with a symphony. In the last few years, we've done bands. This year, we've got the Platters. December 14th, depending on what time you're looking at this. It's either upcoming or it just happened. But that's the cool thing about some of these podcasts. They live forever. So it's kind of cool to be able to have these stories and go back, because a lot of this stuff has been done live. It's been talked about on the radio, but these things aren't documented. And that's what's so cool about the Surfside Stories, is we're documenting stories that can be looked at for years to come. We've got them stored, and they're on YouTube. They're on the surfsidestories.com. But yeah, the Legends of the Beach Music Christmas show this year, Platters, the 2 shows on Sunday, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock. We're excited about that. They're in the Spanish Galleon. We've got the biggest weekend with the Oyster Roast. I've been working with the Oyster Roast for several years now too. Been proud to be involved with TR's Cancer Fighters. I'm putting that event.
Great event.
We've got one of the biggest events ever in 2025. Looking forward to that. It is, at the time of this recording, it is an upcoming event.
Yeah.
Trying to remember. Sometimes I watch stuff and I'm like, they're talking about what's coming up, and it's like, oh, yeah, that happened last month or 2 months ago. So, if you're just watching this and things happened in the past, we like to talk about upcoming events all the time.
It still gives people a good idea of things that they may not have known were happening,
right?
And they can be a part of next year.
That's right. That Oyster Roast is happening every year, and I think it's been a sellout the last 4 or 5 years. And
yes,
they are sold out for 2025. So if you want to get on the list, you want to go to trscancerfighters.org and make sure you learn about it for next year, so you don't miss out if you missed out this year.
And get on early on that list.
Yeah, it's huge, and a lot of the people that are there this year will go ahead and reserve their table for next year.
Yeah.
So
that's something I learned a few years ago. When you walk out that day, you need to go ahead and make your deposit on next year.
Exactly. Speaking of another big weekend, I'm also involved with the Intracoastal Christmas Regatta.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So
yeah.
that'll be that Saturday night after the Oyster Roast. It's always the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We've got a big kickoff party, Yachts for Tots. We've got 150 plus boxes out there collecting toys all over Horry County. So if you see one of those boxes that say Yachts for Tots, throw a toy in there. Know that all the toys you put in that box stay in Horry County. So we've got we collect toys. We're going to have a big kickoff party on the Friday after Thanksgiving, and it'll be that Spanish
That's at the Galleon, right?
That's at the Galleon. This year in 2025, we've got the Holy Spigots.
And you bring toys?
You bring toys to get in.
Okay.
Yep. So bring your toys, drop them off. You get into the show. If you're looking to donate some more money, you're more than welcome to donate money, donate toys. It's all good for a good cause, and so we encourage you to do so. But it's going to be that Friday night after Thanksgiving, but before the Oyster Roast, and of course the boat parade is actually Saturday night itself.
I don't see how you keep up with all this.
There's a lot of stuff. It is a lot of stuff, and then trying to answer the phone and keep things going on at Grand Stream Vacations. Sometimes it's a challenge. Sometimes I'm accused of spending too much time in the beach music world, but fortunately, Angela lets me keep that passion going with the beach music and all the events and stuff that I'm involved with.
And I must say, if you haven't met Angela, she's a sweetheart. He outkicked his coverage.
There's no doubt, no doubt. Very fortunate.
Was there anything else there that we haven't covered? I mean, we've covered so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm sure we can talk some more later.
We definitely will do that.
With 26, 27 years of working with events and beach music and bands and that kind of thing, there's a lot of stuff that's happened along the way. But I thoroughly enjoy being involved in the beach music world, and continue to be out there and look forward to events coming up. Like I said, we're going to do that Christmas show. We're going to do that festival every year, and we try to put some more stuff out there. So be watching 94.9 The Surf or Beach Music Online or Explore NMB. I got a lot of sites out there.
Yep.
But if you Google Bo the Webguy, you can usually find me on just about every site out there, or search for Bo the Webguy.
And if nothing else, go on TikTok if you haven't. He does a live show about every morning. I try to tune in when I'm not tied up. He does a great live. Does a great show, telling everything that's going on. It's just it's a good event. I enjoy it every morning. I look forward to it.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but our time is up already.
It didn't take long, did it?
It doesn't. I'm really thinking, and I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to announce this right now. This one's going out next week.
All right.
I guarantee you.
10-4.
They will see this one before the regatta,
okay,
and before the oyster roast, and definitely before the Christmas show on the 14th.
Good deal. Good deal.
There's too much information in this that's important that people need to know now. That's important that people need to know now. I go to work on this afternoon. By the way, in case you don't know, this is my right-hand man. Surfside Stories would not be possible if it were not for Bo the Webguy right here.
Well,
my friend.
I'm glad to help you out with that, and then it's been fun, and I love seeing all the stuff going on out there, and learning TikTok and learning some of the stuff that we've learned. It's been fun, and getting the word out there
and giving lessons to me, teaching me. I've learned a lot tech-wise in the last 8 weeks, and I look forward to learn a lot more. Bo, thanks so much for being here today. And like I said, we're going to get right to work on this one. We'll see everybody next week.
Good deal.